So, this is going to be a new series on YouTube. The series is going to be about maybe once a week. I take a minute after each game to talk about why I picked the hero I picked. It's going to be the goal is to learn the mindset behind drafting, the things that I think about when I'm picking my hero. Most of these games will be carry, at least for now, but I'll still talk about it when I play other roles. And I want you guys to focus on exactly what thoughts go into my pick. The supports on my team, the heroes on my team, what the heroes on the other team do, what my team needs, what the threat of the opponent heroes are, strengths, weaknesses on both sides, etc.
Banana slam jam.
So in this game, so far in the draft, I had a Bane Grimstroke Lycan on my team, and I had a Shadow Demon Clockwork Phoenix. So I thought to myself that against their specific heroes, they have three different orientations that could be in the offlane. It could be Clock Shadow Demon, it could be Clock Phoenix, and then Clock could have been 4 or 3, where Phoenix is the 3 or the 4. And I thought to myself that I need a hero that doesn't die to these heroes, because I have two supports that don't save me, and these heroes also want to look to be aggressive on the map. And I have no hero on my team just yet that can play independently on the map. And what I mean by that is, even if Clock and Shadow Demon are missing, none of the heroes on my team so far can feel safe being alone without dying. And if I pick something that is going to be threatened by the opponent heroes, I at least want to have a hero that's happy to sit behind me as I do so. A support such as Oracle. In this case, I do not have that. So immediately, I think to myself, I want a hero that can leap out of cogs, like jump out of cogs somehow. And I also want a hero that doesn't kill itself on Shadow Demon Disruption. A hero that doesn't die to Shadow Demon Purge, or at least get gimped by the Shadow Demon Purge, and also a hero that potentially hits Egg. So these are things I'm all considering, and even though Mirana is not a standard pick in the slightest, she fits all of those bills. She functions independently, she has a nice setup with Bane, a very classic combo. You can never forget the classic combos in Dota if they ever apply to a specific draft, and I was mainly looking at the fact that none of their heroes threaten me, and I also threatened their team fight potential with the egg. And on top of all of that, I have this idea of the build I'm going to go. Maelstrom for farm, followed up by a BKB so that I can fight. And then obviously as the game goes on, I can't plan too much further than that. But whenever I pick carry heroes, I like to envision not only how I'm going to play the game and what my purpose is, but also a general idea of how my starting item, like my first 1 or 2 items are. Because then I have a really clear vision for what my hero will play like. How much fighting I'll be doing, how much farming I'll be doing, etc. And by no means do I think I played this game perfectly, but I think the pick was really strong against the heroes they had with the heroes I had. We didn't need push. We had pretty decent catch, but another follow-up stun was really nice for the Bane and the Grimstroke, so it even fit well in that capacity. In this game, I picked Ursa 4th. I saw Coddle, DK, and Legion. Coddle, Weaver, and Legion. I knew it was a Weaver 4, and I've been seeing Arteezy pick Ursa against Legion. What he does is he basically has to sustain through the early levels. You usually get harassed a lot as Ursa. They've nerfed your armor, as well as obviously your early game's relatively weak. But against Legion specifically, you pretty much just come online really hard at level 5, 6-ish, and he can't land anymore. And the goal is you out-sustain through the first 3 or 4 levels, you use a lot of salves, and you just ruin his game. You can kill him at any point. You go for the 4-0-4 build, no points and overpower, the treads, and I thought Ursa's really good against Weaver as well as Coddle supports. Neither of them have a stun. You can ult off, Blinding Light, everything like that. This game, I fucked up a lot in the laning stage. I got 2 salves canceled after ferrying myself 3 salves and ended up dying for it. And even though I still won the lane, my impact on the game was way slower than it should have been, and they had a PL. And my hero didn't deal with PL very well. But the idea behind the pick is that it's really good against Legion. And the hero, I think it's if you can get past the first 7 minutes properly, the snowball potential in the mid game is quite insane this patch. I like him against any offlaner that forces you to attack them. So obviously Legion and Axe, I like Ursa a lot. This game was just an unfortunate misplay by my part. This game, I was forced to pick 3rd. I had a Shadow Demon Mirana, and their picks were Lich Rubik. So the idea was that I was pretty sure they were going to pick a save when I had Shadow Demon Mirana, because if they don't pick a save, like a Bad in Legion or something like that, then Shadow Demon Mirana is just a super potent combo, right? And I also figured they might pick a BKB carry, because against Shadow Demon Mirana, you want to have a hero that can get out of that disruption arrow combo reliably. You want to be survivable. So that in mind, I think Axe is just the perfect pick for this lineup specifically based on what I saw so far. You have a BKB piercing stun, so any carry they pick like Lifestealer or Jug gets countered by you. And you also have an unpurgeable stun, the call being unpurgeable. This was a draft where the earlier on you pick, you have a game plan for the lane. Obviously, Axe Mirana, perfectly fine lane. The lane didn't go as planned. The Mirana honestly didn't help me as much as I asked him to. But despite having a rough start, it was a very good Axe game. And the setup for the call, like the call setup into the arrow as well as the Monkey King ult, was really nice. I think the major thing about this game, though, is that when you're picking offlane, you have to pick a hero that can work well with your teammates, because if your hero itself is countered, at least your teammates plus you is a really strong combo. That's why we see a lot of like Mars Phoenix, Axe Phoenix, these combinations that no matter what the enemy team picks, they're strong together. You also have to preemptively plan for what the enemy team might pick at the same time as you. It's something that happens a lot. It's like if all of your heroes are bad against PL, you probably shouldn't fourth pick a carry that's bad against PL. So that's just a perfect example. In my Ursa game, I struggled a bit, but I thought the Void Spirit would be enough against these illusion heroes. So in this case, Axe being really good against these saves was really the primary reason why I picked it. So for this game, I was third pick, and the heroes that I saw were Wyvern and Tiny, and I had to pick offlane. And I had a Ember Spirit 4 and a Jakiro 5 that I picked. So when I have like an Ember Spirit 4, I usually want a melee hero or a ranged hero to synergize with it, something that can capitalize on the chains and the fact that he's going to be running around in front of me. I usually like heroes with a bit of mobility if possible, just because if he catches somebody out, I can follow them up. So I picked Queen of Pain, third pick here in the draft. Immediately, their carry responded with Anti-Mage, and I was a bit hesitant to lane that matchup because Anti-Mage against any int offlaner just blinks on top of you and obviously burns your mana, and my main way of winning the lane, which is Dagger, is countered by a Spell Shield. So I asked my mid laner to swap with me last pick, and it came down to the wire. I wasn't really sure what to pick. They had Bane Wyvern supports. All the heroes were showing but DK, and I said, if you want to swap, give me Elsie. And my idea was that they had an Anti-Mage that in lane we had to deal with, and I had this Riki hero. I was like, okay, Riki is okay against Anti-Mage. Obviously, he's all physical damage, silences, etc. But I thought we needed to shut down this Anti-Mage's game. I was a bit weary when I picked LC into Bane Wyvern, two supports that make it incredibly difficult to win a duel. It was a bit of a panic pick. I was considering heroes like Slardar, but at the end of the day, it felt really awkward to play this game because I picked a Legion Commander into Bane Wyvern. And after their last pick, DK, which was at the same time, I didn't see it or anything. I just had no obvious dual targets, and even though I ended up crushing the Anti-Mage in lane, a few misplays made it so that I didn't win as hard as I should have, and obviously, like I said, even though he loses his lane, it's like a really good Anti-Mage game because of the supports he has behind him based on my picks. So this was a draft where it was a bit funky, but I had a reason for my pick, and it just didn't work out for those reasons. Okay. So on the draft, what I saw in the lineups was Willow, Doom, and Mars on my team. And what I saw in their lineup was Earth Spirit, Bane, and then they had first picked their mid Void Spirit. That's CCNC. He'd first picked his mid Void Spirit. So it threw like the flow of the draft off by just a bit. And usually in these cases, when they throw the flow of the draft off, I like to kind of just pick a hero that feels straightforward for me. Also one that I'm comfortable on. So what I mean by straightforward is they have Earth Spirit, Bane. Neither of those have instant disables. Same with Void Spirit. None of their shit is instant. So I wanted either like an illusion evasive hero or like, when you think of these non-instant stuns, I like to pick heroes that can respond and survive. And in this case, it's like you can go Jug, Magic Immune type heroes. You can go Illusion type heroes with like Doppelganger, like PL. But because they had Bane Fiend's Grip, I thought the most ideal target or ideal hero to pick was Slark. I was like, against Bane, I like Illusion heroes, but against Earth Spirit, Void Spirit, I don't like Illusion heroes. So I went to this comfort zone pick in the Slark that was naturally survivable against the three heroes I saw. They picked Slardar, which is a hard lane counter to Slark, and my last hero picked Quap. So we actually lane swapped this game. And, he sacrificed his game a lot for me, Mitsuo. So shout out to him. But he got to go against Slardar. His lane went fine. But obviously, as a mid-quap, he was slowed down a lot since he was forced to play the side lane. And I was able to get a lot of levels. And even though I lost mid by a bit, to CCNC. It still went well, just because it was a good Slark game, and I'm comfortable on the hero. Okay. Let's see. Boris kept inviting me. Is this a new all-time high MMR for me? No. I had that earlier today, because I lost 2 and 1 too. Why Silver Edge plus I have Scotty instead of S and Y? I wanted this like combination of being more of a threat while also being tanky. I don't like S and Y on Slark when you have to be a threat. He's like, S and Y is good when like if they go on you, you win the fight and your teammates will clean up. I felt like they had to go on me, so I wanted to be tanky, but I actually had to dish out a lot of the damage. So I wanted this like hybrid luxury build where I didn't have to buy like BKB or anything because my teammates had so much counter initiation. The opponent at that stage in the game could not afford to focus me. We had Terrorize, we have Mars Arena, we have Doom, we have Quap. Like we have so many heroes that like once I get gone on, they can capitalize on that. So I knew it was my job to go in first. In the mid game, I knew that the game was all about who got the jump on who. Like that's all that was. So the Shadow Blade was mainly for like vision for my team, and I knew I was also tanky enough at that point in the game, based on how the game was going, that I didn't have to go like some other tankiness item. So I had the Shadow Blade, and then Silver Edge was like a luxury pickup. It lowers the cooldown, gives you stats, more damage. Just a nice item for the hero. So that was the idea behind that.